You gonna ask me what I'm doing?
Are you gonna tell us what you're doing?
Yeah, we're about to fillet a catfish, flathead. Not a very big one, but a lot of people will cut them like that right there, you know, make an X on them or whatever and peel them. And I don't do the hide thing just because it's extra work to me. Cause I can peel them out, and I usually don't save the belly meat. I'm not big on the belly meat, but now a lot of people do. I run that fillet knife, and you leave a little bit, like right here, and you can come back later and trim it out just like you do a back strap on a deer or something, you know. You'll peel that piece of meat out right there, get around that head too. So I come down the side of him. Now you'll get down here to this lower fin around that belly meat. Cut down around that. Lay that knife right down on his spine. Sometimes they twist a little bit. I'm not using the preferred, like a long knife I usually like to use. You'll lay this out. The catfish are notorious for having a lot of red meat on them on the outside near the skin. And they'll have a seam in the center, which I'll show you here in a second. And you can see that red meat right there.
Yep.
All that red. I'm going to use this fillet knife because it might be a little bit more limber, help me lay closer to the hide. And I kind of hold up best I can, which I'm not using the best surface. Kind of working in a boat here, so I'm kind of botching it here, I think. But you can sometimes put your hand down on it and it'll help steady your knife when you want to cross them. Pull it closer to me. I sure don't want, yeah, I knew I was doing that one. Cut a hole in that hide. There are bears to get that hide off. Might even do better if I clean like that right there. You've got a little bit of a bone around that rib. You got to pop through it. Now, I think I left some hide on the nose of that. But all that right there you don't want on that, because you cut down into it and you'll start to see some red tint, red right in there. And that seam I was telling you about, that red right there, and then this red seam that runs down the center of that meat. And that's no count to me. It tastes horrible. It makes the catfish taste bad. Or it can taste really good too. The catfish, a flathead especially, is excellent tasting fish. For a catfish, they're great. A lot better than that old farm raised China stuff we get in all the time. And then when it comes to the ribs here, you got a row of ribs running right down through there. And for the most part, a catfish's ribs lay pretty close to the inside of his stomach. You get a little bit of rib meat off of them, you know. And kind of roll it out of there. It'll almost tear right where that seam's at. And then there'll be like that right there is all good meat, that lower part right here. So that right there is a good piece of meat. Now, to trim the red, that's just ribs. We'll pitch that out, trim that red meat off. Trim that red, get that tail off there. And you got most of the red meat off of it. You can even scrape some of it, it'll come off like that right there.
We're back. The card was full.
Deal. Had a full card. What I was telling you guys about is the seam in the center of that fillet, that red meat seam. It's real important to get that out of there. Like I said, a lot of people I know don't do this, and it might not affect it that much, but I don't like red meat in any fish. Too fatty, and it leaves a real real fishy taste, gamey taste to the meat. So I just cut that out. You don't lose a ton, but I mean it's of course a bite of fish you lose. And then you can go on and soak this in water, and the red will show up a whole lot better once you soak it. I feel like you can get it off a little bit easier sometimes too, because the fish is kind of poised and tender right now, real soft. But that's what you get off one fillet out of a catfish about that size. I'd say, what is he, 18 inches?
At least.
18, something like that. And then what I was telling you, if you miss some meat, you can come back, because you usually miss a little bit when you fillet them like that, how I did. Miss some around the head, and they actually have head meat right here. On the tops of their heads, they got a little circular muscle. And I'll cut that out here in a minute. I'll come around the top of this here and roll that little fillet out right there. So a little chunk of something to eat. Something I thought was pretty neat. We baited this with a big old chunk of a head. And in that fish's stomach right there, I don't know if you can see. That's the head, and it's already, what did we put that on there, what, I don't know, 10 hours ago? 10 hours maybe? Already, just gone. I mean,
Look at that, man.
the acids in their stomach.
Stomach acid's insane.
Just crazy. Ugh. But yeah, that's your leftovers from last night. I'd say another one will be happy to eat it, so we'll give it back to nature.
Glad somebody wants it.
I'll cut down through here, and I'm going to put this small fillet knife down to do the rib cutting with, because those, you can wear one out real quick cutting through these ribs. And there's a bone right here. I don't know if it's like the start of the rib bones or what it is, but it's really hard to get through that first crunch. And then I run my knife just like how I did a minute ago. Run it right down the side of him. Left a little bit on that one. Be something to fry though. A lot of people don't know, but these are long-lived fish. Really old. They can get to be, if I'm not wrong, I think they can live to be way up into their 40s. And that muscle I was talking about in their head. Let me find it here. And I usually don't do this until I get on the bigger catfish, because it's almost just about too much trouble and it's really worth on these smaller ones. There is if you had, say, a 25 pounder, you'd have a big chunk of meat here. 30, you know. And you can do a better job getting it out, but that's pretty much like what you'd be getting. Just on a bigger scale, like, you know, you take something 25 pound, it's got a head that wide, it's going to have a chunk of meat about yay thick, so it's well over a bite, which I don't think we're going to keep those. But that's your catfish cleaning in a boat. Trim over it a little bit more. I think we got about everything we can, really. Not the best job in the world, but that's how you do it. Roughing it. See you guys later.